No one inside the paddock understood why Misano was suddenly sealed off. The gates were closed, security was doubled, and the Yamaha garage, usually buzzing with media, was darker than ever, lit only by work lamps and the glow of engineers' laptops. Something was happening inside that garage. A test so secretive, not even some Yamaha staff knew it was taking place. And by the end of that day, the whispers inside the paddock would change tone completely. Because what unfolded on the Misano asphalt wasn't just another development run. It was the moment Yamaha learned whether their future existed at all. But the truth behind that silence, the real reason the test was hidden, reveals far more than anyone expected. At dawn, Misano looked almost frozen. No TV trucks, no fan chatter, no distant whine of engines warming up. Only a few scattered personnel walked the pit lane, confused by the sudden lockdown. Inside Yamaha's garage, however, the atmosphere was tense. Engineers whispered, mechanics moved with urgency. Every laptop screen displayed the same thing: V4 engine data. For months, Yamaha's future hung on a machine that refused to behave, overheating, vibrating, dropping power after long runs. And now, in complete secrecy, they were ready to face the problem again. Two bikes, two riding styles. One final shot to prove the V4 could survive a full season. And somewhere along the pit wall, one insider said quietly, "This test, it's not about speed anymore. This decides whether the project lives or dies." Yet the reason for such secrecy would only become clear hours later. Yamaha didn't choose these riders by accident. Toprak Razgatlıoğlu, the rider famous for braking so late, engineers joke he bends the laws of physics. His brutal weight transfer had exposed the V4's weaknesses in Valencia and Aragon. Every time he hit the brakes, the engine internals felt it. Hard. Fabio Quartararo, smooth, precise, relentlessly consistent. His style revealed a different problem. The V4 couldn't hold stable performance over full-distance simulations. Two extremes. Two different ways to brake an engine. Both were needed. And both were under immense personal pressure. Fabio, after years of pushing Yamaha to modernize, was desperate. Some insiders claimed he had reached a breaking point with Japan's conservative development philosophy. Toprak, new to MotoGP, carried the expectations of a fanbase that believed he could be Yamaha's savior. Yet beneath his calm expression, the weight of that responsibility was beginning to show. What neither rider knew was that Misano would force them into the heart of Yamaha's most important decision in a decade. And the moment Toprak rolled out of the pits, the entire garage fell silent. The V4 barked to life with a deeper, more resonant tone than Yamaha's old inline 4. That sound alone hinted at change. Toprak attacked turn 1 with the same ferocity he brought to superbikes, late braking, rear wheel skimming the air, the bike squatting violently as it absorbed the load. In Valencia, this style exposed a fatal flaw. Excess vibration, stress on engine mounts, thermal spikes that spiraled out of control. At Misano, the data didn't show any of it. Lap after lap, Toprak pushed harder, more violent braking, more aggressive corner entries, maximum mechanical stress, the exact conditions that previously caused degradation. But today, the numbers were different. Temperatures stable. Power drop minimals. Vibration significantly reduced. Engineers glanced at each other, quietly stunned. Some had worked on the V4 since the project's earliest days, through years of setbacks and internal criticism. This was the first time they saw the engine endure Toprak's style without flinching. Yet one engineer whispered, "Don't celebrate yet, Fabio's run is the real test." And as Toprak pulled back into the pits, the expression on the Japanese engineers' faces shifted from relief to anticipation. Something bigger was coming. If Toprak stressed the engine's body, Fabio stressed its endurance. He didn't explode into corners, he didn't slide, he didn't overwork the bike. He simply rode at race pace, lap after lap, demanding stability. At Aragon, the V4 crumbled in the final third of his simulation. At Valencia, power fell off a cliff. But Misano was different. Telemetry revealed consistency. Fuel consumption improved. Temperatures held in range. The gearbox, a newly installed evolution, shifted smoother than ever, even at speed. The team watched Fabio's final laps with growing tension. Those laps had destroyed the engine in every previous test. But today, there was no collapse. When Fabio returned to the pits, he didn't remove his helmet immediately. He sat still for a moment, breathing, absorbing what he had just felt. Then he finally spoke. It stayed strong all the way. For the first time in years, Fabio sounded genuinely hopeful. But just as engineers began to relax, Yamaha prepared for something no one expected. Later that afternoon, a different sound echoed across Misano, rougher, sharper, unmistakably Miller-esque. Jack Miller rolled out of the pits on Yamaha's V4 test bike. This stunned everyone who knew Yamaha's usual secrecy. Why involve Miller, a rider known for brutal acceleration and rear-wheel sliding, in a test meant for their main riders? According to whispers inside the paddock, Miller was brought in to expose weaknesses Toprak and Fabio couldn't trigger. His style demanded traction, demanded torque, demanded stability when the bike drifted sideways under acceleration. And Yamaha needed to know if their V4 could handle it. Moments later, something extraordinary happened. Toprak and Miller followed each other on track. Two extremes of riding philosophy, braking versus sliding on the same prototype. Miller studied Toprak's insane braking points. Toprak observed how Miller launched out of slow corners, using the V4's newfound low-end punch. Telemetry revealed patterns Yamaha had never seen before. But the true surprise was still coming, hidden inside the aero package. Yamaha had quietly brought a radical new aero design. Longer front wings, sharper side fairings, more aggressive downforce. A design closer to Ducati's philosophy than anything Yamaha had ever produced. For years, internal debate raged between European engineers pushing for modern aero and Japanese leadership preferring traditional stability-focused shapes. Misano was the final battleground in that debate. Toprak loved the extra braking stability. Miller felt improved traction exiting corners. And the data suggested the aero worked for both riding styles, something Yamaha had never managed before. Even MotoGP legend Jorge Lorenzo commented, "If both of them are fast with this package, Yamaha is close, very close to a winning bike again." But there was something Lorenzo didn't know. Something Yamaha engineers discovered after comparing the telemetry of all three riders. It didn't just look good. It didn't just feel good. It created a balance the team had never achieved before. And that revelation triggered a deeper internal conflict. Inside Yamaha's development structure, there were two philosophies. Japan's traditionalism, a stability first, a conservative risk-taking, slow methodical evolution. Europe's modernism, aero innovation, aggressive engine design, pushing mechanical limits. For years, Fabio pushed for change, pushing Yamaha toward the future while internal resistance slowed every step. Toprak's arrival only added more pressure. His style demanded a violent, responsive, torque-heavy bike, the opposite of Yamaha's past philosophy. The Misano test forced Yamaha into a corner. Because for the first time, engineers saw the truth they had been avoiding. The old Yamaha identity was gone. The inline-4 era was dead. And the V4 was no longer a fragile prototype, it was a genuine contender. But approving it for homologation meant abandoning decades of philosophy. One engineer allegedly said, "If we commit to this, we change who Yamaha is." The decision would come down to a single hidden metric, one the public rarely hears about. And when that number surfaced, it shocked everyone involved. Late in the afternoon, during Miller's final runs, a small anomaly surfaced in the data. Gearbox thermal load was rising higher than its projection. At first, the team panicked. This issue had haunted previous versions of the V4. But then something unusual happened. The thermal curve flattened, stabilized, and held the lines. This meant the gearbox wasn't failing, it was adapting. The new design had built-in resilience the engineers didn't fully anticipate. A problem that should have been catastrophic had instead revealed the engine's greatest strength: thermal stability under extreme mixed-style stress. Toprak's braking, Fabio's consistency, Miller's slides. Three opposite styles. One engine responding to all of them. And at that moment, Yamaha realized, this wasn't just a functioning prototype. This was their comeback weapon. But Yamaha's next move would determine whether that comeback ever sees daylight. As evening light fell over Misano, the riders left quietly. Fabio with a look of cautious optimism. Toprak with a sense of unfinished business. Miller grinning, knowing he'd stirred up the paddock with his presence. News began spreading behind closed doors. Yamaha's V4 survived everything today. Performance looks real. Homologation might actually happen. For the first time in nearly a decade, Yamaha felt competitive. But nothing was officially confirmed. And the team still faced a critical choice. Play it safe, or unleash a machine that could redefine their future. If the Misano data holds true through Sepang and Lusail, MotoGP could witness one of the greatest resurgences in modern history. Because Misano 2025 didn't just prove the V4 could survive. It proved Yamaha was ready to change. And the only question now is, will this be the rebirth Yamaha has waited for? Or their final chance slipping away?